Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am Marcus Brown. I'm Senior Business Membership Manager with Local First Arizona. We're gonna just give it about a minute or two more to let more people to trickle in. Then we're gonna allow our guests to speak and go further in this topic. So in the meantime, feel free just to stay a minute and we'll be right back to you. Okay, good afternoon again, everyone. I'd like to officially welcome you to our webinar for today. We're going to be speaking about a topic I know many of you out there really love engaging on regarding bookkeeping. I want to thank you all for being able to participate today. We are happy to be welcoming our guest presenters for today, all the way from Tucson, from Making Accounting Easy, Miss Sony Norton and Maria Torres, and they'll take us through the journey together today. There are going to be moments throughout the session where you may want to have questions or comments. We suggest that any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the Q&A section below, and I will make sure to address them to our presenters at the end of the session. If anything goes in particular for the chat, feel free to also add that as well. And Sony, Maria, feel free to take it away.
Hi there. Thank you so much, Marcus. Hello, everyone. Thank you again for joining us today. Today, we will be discussing some recommendations for tracking your books throughout the year. And we are going to demo some helpful tools in QuickBooks Online that's going to help you streamline some of those small business to do. And like Marcus mentioned, we're going to finish up with answering some questions. But again, before we get started, we did want to quickly introduce ourselves. Sony?
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Sony Norton. I'm really glad to be here with you today. So just a little about me. I'm actually from Colorado. I lived there pretty much all my life up until 2015 when I moved to Tucson. And I now live here with my 3 canine babies that you see right there on that screen. I've worked in various industries over the years, including in the pharmaceutical industry, a nonprofit, and for the last 12 years in the software industry, working specifically with QuickBooks.
And hello again. My name is Maria Torres, and I have lived in sunny Tucson, Arizona most of my life. On that picture there, I'm enjoying a beautiful sunny day, loving nature. I'm a QuickBooks Pro advisor, and I've been working with QuickBooks programs since 2002. So again, welcome everyone. Now, you're probably thinking, how did these two gals get together and how did this webinar come about? Well, we met through our prior employer, and that's where we were colleagues and became best friends. We discovered that we had many things in common, such as our love for travel, cooking and eating amazing food, having good belly laughs, and elevating and helping others be successful both in their personal and professional life. So when the opportunity came up last year, we joined forces and we tapped into something that we both knew very well, which is QuickBooks Online. And together we have 20 years of combined experience teaching and consulting about QuickBooks Online. And whoa, has that time flied. So something we've noticed over the years was the fear that comes from working with the program. So we thought, this is a really good opportunity to help some of these small business owners get comfortable with using something like QuickBooks. And that's why we formed Making Accounting Easy. We're using our experience to help small business owners digest QuickBooks, and we do it with short and simple and easy to apply lessons to ramp up their QuickBooks knowledge. So again, thank you again for being here. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, as small business owners, we do wear many hats, and most often than not, unfortunately, things do fall through the cracks, and that's just because we're stretched so thin. We didn't follow our passion because we love bookkeeping, right? We followed our dreams doing what we love. So the last thing on our minds is handling the accounting piece of the business. Can anybody relate to either of those images there?
I'm the lady with the
Yeah.
8 arms. Yeah, that's definitely me.
Yeah, we certainly can relate, and definitely been there and done that. So as much as accounting is not our passion, of course, unless you're wanting to be an accountant, you are going to want to start to think about the process of the what, the how, the when, and the whys to gather and organize your information that's needed. So oftentimes we are lost because we don't know what the end goal is. So let's get started there. So let me ask, what are your objectives or goals this year? Is it to attain a certain dollar amount? Maybe perhaps you want to gain more clients, or just simply stay organized and maybe be a little bit more prepared for tax time. So once you identify what that goal is, you can start to put in place the required steps to attain those desired goals. So today we will be discussing one of those goals, which is staying organized throughout the year and determine what information needs to be tracked. Basically, we're just talking about having our ducks in a row. So that way we're prepared to meet with our CPAs at the end of the year or even throughout the year. We are going to walk you through some recommendations for getting prepared for year end. And we're also going to show you some helpful tools in QuickBooks that's going to streamline some of those small business to-dos. We do recommend that you do these things throughout the year and that you initiate the conversation with your CPA earlier in the year to ensure that you're capturing what's most important to your business. This is also a good time to remind everyone that this is an informational webinar and that we're not accountants or bookkeepers, therefore cannot provide accounting or tax advice. So let's get started. First things first. To be ready for year end, you need to get organized. And what do we mean by that? Getting organized simply means gathering everything that you have used so far for the year to track your business. Like for instance, for some, this can mean a spreadsheet as a tool to track all your business transactions. Now keep in mind, most business owners, including myself, probably know a little small fraction of Excel's capability. And if you are an Excel guru and you can pull this necessary reports, then that's awesome. I'm really happy for you. But if not, like me, start thinking about how you will prepare your P&L and your balance sheet report. Others will think they're being organized by using a shoebox full of receipts. And you know who you are. I bet your bookkeeper or accountant, they don't have much love for you when you walk in. Now, we are crossing our fingers on this, that you are using an accounting software like QuickBooks to track and organize all your books in one place. So a question here, how is everybody handling their books right now? If you could, please share your answers in the Q&A. So we'll give people a second. And if you're having trouble with the Q&A, you could always use the chat.
So it doesn't look like anything's coming through right now.
Okay.
Okay.
No worries. No matter what method you're using or maybe even not using, the key here is just to have some sort of system in place and to stay on top of the data entry throughout the year. Now, another process to help staying organized is to have checks and balances put in place by performing monthly reconciles. Reconciliation is a process where you match what's in your books to what's in your real life bank accounts. And this process is going to allow you to take the time to fix errors and fill in any gaps. You'll want to gather your information, and this usually just means a bank or a credit card statement. And you're going to want to compare that to the tool that you're using to record your transactions, such as QuickBooks. Now, as you compare the two systems, you'll want to do some cleanup, and you'll want to make sure that everything is accounted for. So this is going to help you make sure that all the money in and going out of the business is accounted for, and that you're sharing accurate information with your CPA and tax preparer. Now, you'll also want to make sure that you're reviewing your receivables and your payables routinely. And this is to check to see who owes you money and who you owe money to. So ideally, you should be reviewing these often to make sure that your clients and customers are paying you on a timely manner, and that you're making vendor payments by their due dates and hopefully not relying too heavily on credit. So you should, at a minimum, be reviewing them monthly. And by staying on top of your receivables and payables, you'll get a snapshot of where your business stands, and it's going to allow you to make informed business decisions. We find that this is especially handy when it comes to managing a tight cash flow. This will also allow you to quickly identify those customers that owe you money, so that you can either send them a friendly reminder, or you can send them a statement with their pending balances. Now, you'll also want to do the same for your vendors and suppliers. You're going to want to figure out who you owe money to and either pay that balance or have a conversation to come up with a payment plan. Now, another consideration for preparedness is sales tax and payroll taxes. If you provide goods and services that are taxable in your state, you are required to collect sales tax on those goods and services. So as a business owner or a seller, you are responsible for not only calculating, but also collecting, reporting, and remitting sales tax to appropriate state and local authorities to, of course, avoid costly fines for late payments. Now, the frequency for paying sales tax is going to depend on your sales volume, and also it varies by state. So if you're unsure of how all that works, please make sure that you contact a CPA. Now, if you're running payroll for your business, you most likely have a CPA or a service such as Intuit Payroll to stay on top of what's due and the forms that need to be filed. So if you could share with us, how are you currently handling your payroll your payroll and your sales tax? And again, for this, we could use the Q&A.
You guys are really quiet today. No questions?
Yeah. So I mean, for most of the customers.
Oh, we got something here.
Okay.
Right now, not using anything. Okay. So I'd be curious, like, do you have employees, or are you not using anything because there is no employees or contractors? No worries. Go for it, Maria.
Okay. Well, again, no worry. Whatever method you're using, the key takeaway here is that you're accurately tracking, filing, and paying your sales and payroll taxes on time to avoid those costly fines. Looks like we have independent contractors going on here. Okay. All right. Again, staying on top of your payroll taxes and sales tax payments will help you kick off this new year in good standing with the IRS and stay off their naughty list, which I know we all want to do.
Except if you're Sony. I like to give them I like to give them a little challenge. No,
no, she doesn't. Yeah, not advisable.
No.
All right. So once you have a process in place for capturing your business data, you'll need to be able to make sense of the information, right? This is when reports come in. And if you haven't already, you really should get familiar with the reports that are going to help you understand what's happening in your business. So for example, a profit and loss report will provide insights on whether or not the business is making a profit, where a statement of cash flows is going to tell you where the money's coming from, where it's being spent, and the cash increase for a specific period of time. Also, a sales by product and service report will tell you what goods or services are making the business money, and so forth. You guys get the idea. If you have created these reports or the program you are using offers reports, make sure that you take the time to review them and make certain that all the money in and money out transactions have been accounted for and have been accurately recorded. Because remember, what you get out of these reports is only as good as what you're going to be putting into them. So ideally, you should review these reports as often as you can, and that will help you make real-time decisions. And hopefully you guys do have some kind of system put in place to generate these reports. But if you don't, again, this is a really good time. We're still early in the year to figure out what we're going to do next to implement a process for having these reports available. Now, in taking all the above recommendations, this is going to open up a possibility for planning for the future. And one way that you can do that is by creating a budget. So this is definitely a good time to think about what you want to do differently this year. And you can also create reports such as a budget versus actual, and then you could see if you're on target or if you need to adjust. So the main purpose of a budget is really just to live within your income and to make wise buying decisions. So additionally, by creating these budgets, it's going to help you to avoid things like credit problems. It allows you to plan for financial emergencies, where a lot of us have been impacted by that recently. It's going to help you develop money management skills and, of course, to achieve your financial goals. So bottom line, creating a budget is just going to allow you to meet your goals with the systems of savings and wise spending. So let me ask another question. Are you guys budgeting now? And if so, what are those methods that you're using? By any chance, is anybody using the methods on the screen there?
While we're waiting for responses, I can tell you that I've used one of those bad budgeting tools. I used the freezing your credit card. I think when I was in my early 20s, I didn't know anything about budget. You know, I was always using credit cards. So I actually used it and it worked because I didn't have the patience for the darn thing to defrost. So yeah, I definitely have used it.
I mean, that's definitely one method.
Yeah, exactly, right? Oh, okay. So we have a couple of responses. They,
Okay.
I have a budget, but it's not formal. Yeah, and you know, honestly, like it's a method, right? You're doing something. Something is better than nothing.
Right.
So another person is use Mint and banking statements. Yeah, I actually use Mint as well. So.
Okay. Oh, well, again, the takeaway here is that there is no time like the present to think about what tool you're going to be using to create this budgets. And really the goal is to just better manage our finances going forward. Okay, so in saying all that, let's see, did we miss anything? Oh, yes. Okay, very critical. Touch bases with your CPA. Communicating with your accountant throughout the year is going to make sure that you're both on the same page. And ideally, you should meet with your accountants at least twice a year. I'm actually hoping more, because keep in mind that what happens in your business and in your personal life typically will impact your tax liabilities at the end of the year. So definitely make sure you keep those CPAs in the loop. Now, there's also a few additional things you want to think about and talk about with your accountants, and that is potential deductions and savings. We won't go into detail over each one of these, but I do want to at least list off a few. So one is possibly deferring income that you've received in the month of December, or excuse me, December to January, and that will help you cut your tax bill. Another is to run an inventory check and look for potential write-offs. So for example, if there's been a drop in the market value for your inventory, or you have loss of inventory due to spoilage. Also consider making purchases. And here we're talking about spending money on items that business needs to maximize on your deductions. Maybe you can upgrade your equipment that needs to be updated, or simply just stock up on office supplies. Another good way is to consider contributing to charity, or whether or not to start or increase your contribution to a retirement plan. So we are going to pause here for just a minute. I am going to pass the ball to Sony, and I'm going to go ahead and have her take over.
Oh, hey, Maria, there was a question that came in.
Oh, okay.
Question is, what is the difference between a bookkeeper and a CPA?
Okay, that's a really good question. So typically, a bookkeeper is someone that you hire to do most of your data entry, where an accountant will go further. And again, it just kind of depends on why you brought them into the business. They typically provide, obviously, accounting advice. We've seen accountants help with data cleanup and make sure that things are being categorized. And some accountants also process payroll, file taxes, and even offer advisory, where they sit with you and go over your books to determine what changes need to be made. I hope that helps. Mm-hmm.
So can being a sponsor be a write-off for a company? Is another question that came through.
That's a good question. I like this question. It's a little bit on the accounting side. So again, we want to make sure that we don't steer people in the wrong way. So this is something you'll as far as like I know, it may, but again, this is definitely something that you'll want to bring up with your accountant.
Yeah, and so we're not trying to divert the question. So like even like us as our own business, you know, like there's like a fine line around like what can you write off, like meals, right? Most people think, oh, you know, I own a business and I had a conversation at lunch, and so therefore is deductible, right? Not always the case. And so that's what we're finding out more and more. And we actually work with a certified public, you know, accountant as well, because we want to make sure that, you know, I know I said that I like to play around, like walk on the edge around working with the IRS, but I don't really.
That's not the case, not at all.
Yeah.
And again, it kind of depends on what exactly is that you're sponsoring. So good question. Definitely touch bases with your CPA.
All right. So we're actually switching off. Is that right, Maria?
Correct.
All right. So we've gone over a few topics for staying organized throughout the year, and maybe you're doing 1, 2, or perhaps none. Okay. The key takeaway here is to start thinking about what the next steps are. Okay, with the information that we shared. To sum it up, make sure you don't ignore your bookkeeping. Stay on top of your bookkeeping throughout the year. And a good way to do that is utilizing, you know, accounting software such as QuickBooks to track all your in and out transactions for the business. Staying organized, really, guys, doesn't have to be a stressful process, okay? But it can be if you try to use methods that are either inefficient, that are hard to use, doesn't provide a complete picture, right? And even worse, like it takes up a lot of your time. Okay, so share with us if you could, like how you plan to stay organized and account for all your bookkeeping transactions this year. And
so,
you know, post, what?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, please post it in the Q&A.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking this whole webinar and conversation kind of reminds me of that customer we had recently with the shoebox full of receipts and then multiple bank accounts, right?
Yeah.
So we met with her and we got her connected to QuickBooks. And so our thought process was, okay, how can we get all this information to feed into one place? She was a little bit stressed because she's trying to get everything ready for year end for 2021 tax preparation. So, I mean, it was very rewarding and such a win story for the customer, because with everything that we were able to compile, she was able to pull up reports that she desperately needed to file those taxes. So I just wanted to share that. This kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, actually, that's a good one to highlight because she actually did keep track of her books, but it was in multiple places. And so at the end of the year, she needed to, I think it was consolidating all of the reports into one place because she was exporting and importing and doing all these crazy things. And we were able to set up QuickBooks for her and then had all the various, I think she had like 3 or 4 different accounts, and we were able to connect it, and all that information fed into one place. So that was a good one.
Exactly. And we, you
I'm
beat
sorry.
me to it.
What?
That's okay. I was going to say the same thing. It looks like someone is using their computer for accounting software like QuickBooks. So that's what they're using. So that's awesome. Also, I guess a question, but I was wondering if POS reports help.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's gonna, but it's, so POS is gonna it's gonna keep track of your sales information. It doesn't have the full picture, right? Because it doesn't really keep track of like the money going out portion. So you can track a lot of the sales information through your POS, right? But QuickBooks actually does work with a point of sale system. So just know that like you're only getting some of the picture, not the full scope of the picture.
Exactly.
Anything else to add on that one, Maria?
It doesn't look like we have any other questions. No? So
okay, cool. All right, and I think who was that? Marcia, thank you so much. You've been posting a lot of questions, so we really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So actually, we're ready to go into our demo section of our webinar today. What we want to do is demo for you a feature in QuickBooks Online called the Online Bank Feed. And so what you can do is you can easily connect your bank and, whoops, hold on, my screen just went kind of kapooey. There we go. All right. So yeah, it's going to allow you to bring in like an entire year of data by just using the online bank feed. And so not only does this process actually save you time, but it can actually greatly reduce like errors when you're entering information manually. So I can tell you, I fat finger a lot of things, so it reduces a lot of that. Okay.
Well, and then I'm dyslexic in the morning, so.
Okay, she's not lying. Just everybody, so everybody knows. Yeah. So it looks like Maria is already sharing her screen with us, and she's logged into a sample company that we set up earlier. So what we wanted to point out here is that sometimes if you're already using QuickBooks Online, your screens may look a little bit different than what we have on here. And it's because Intuit likes to test out the look of the program to figure out like what's going to work best for their users. Okay, so notice here on our left navigation, these are our menus. Okay, now I'm going to switch my view to give you an idea of what we're talking about. And notice, look at the left-hand navigator on this one. See how it's different? It's got the different menu options. Okay, so doesn't matter which view that you see, just know that it's going to have the same functionality. Okay, but it's going to be organized a little differently and may have different labels to the names. Okay, but the functionality is all there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch back to the new view, which I initially hated, but now I understand it, and I actually like it. All right, so here what we're gonna do is go to the bookkeeping tab and then go to the transactions menu. Okay, all right. And so here, because this is the first time that we're actually connecting our bank, you're gonna see this connect account button. Now, once you've connected several accounts, at least one account, you're gonna have the option to add additional connections. Okay, and so we'll show you what that here in a minute, what that looks like. So first thing we're going to do is go ahead and click on connect account. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for my bank. We're going to search for USAA. And when we do, these are our search results. Okay, and so we're going to go ahead and select the bank that we want to connect to. And then we're going to click. I know these screens by heart now. And we're going to click continue. And on the next screen, what it's going to do is it's going to ask for your credentials for your bank. You know, this is your user ID and password that you use to log into your bank. And we're just going to follow the on-screen steps. So just note that your bank may require you to have some, you know, it may have some additional security checks, and that's good. That's for your protection, right? And so just go through the prompts, and now it's actually communicating. You see the arrows pointing back and forth. Oh my goodness, that was fast, Maria.
That was. We do
yeah.
have a quick question here. Are there any local banks connected to the system? Are there any you recommend?
Oh goodness. You know, so I mean, all the major financial institutions are part of the online banking, as well as a lot of the credit unions. So I don't know that I have any single recommendation, but if you do have a specific bank, I mean, gosh, Maria, in all the years, I think there's like several thousand banks that they work with all throughout the country. So I don't have any specific one. What are your thoughts?
I agree. And for my personal, I do use a very small credit union, and it actually connects to QuickBooks. So it's just a matter of, you know, doing the search there. And there's also a help topic. Maybe we can find it and send it to you that has a list of all the banks that are supported. And if they're not there, then you can actually send feedback to get them added to the list. And we won't go into this on this webinar, but there are actual other ways to connect to your bank with if they happen not to have that sync feature.
Yeah, so there's it's called a Web Connect. Basically, what you do is you download the information, your statement from your financial institution, and you just save it to, like, I always recommend like your desktop, and from there you can actually pull the information into QuickBooks Online. So it's a couple of additional steps. It's more of a manual process, but it's doable. Absolutely. So I hope that answers your question. All right. So here you see that these are the available accounts at my USAA account that you can connect to, that I can connect to my QuickBooks. So for us, we're going to go ahead and uncheck the all the accounts except for the youth spending account. That's the one that we want to connect for our demo today. And it's saying that what account do you want to choose in QuickBooks to make this connection for the youth spending account? And checking is perfect, so we'll leave it there. Next is we're gonna select the date range of the transactions to pull in. Okay. Now I do want to advise you guys that, you know, this right here, the bank determines how much data is available for you to download. QuickBooks doesn't do that. So it's whatever amount of data is available from your bank, you can download it. If they have 3 years, certainly you can pull all that in. Okay. So for us, we're gonna just select last year, and then we're gonna click connect. And this is going to kick off the download process. So there's the arrows going back and forth again. All right. And it shouldn't take long. Typically depends on how many transactions you have and the amount of data. And also too, like your internet speed will be a factor because this is all in the cloud. Okay. But it looks like it's going through pretty quickly here. There's a lot of meals on this account. Just noticing.
Yeah, this is our sample file, people. Don't spend that much on meals.
Okay, so now, now that the accounts are connected and transactions have pulled into QuickBooks Online, we have to tell it what to do. So there's a couple of screens here that's going to pop up. So we're just going to skip through all those, right? And then we're going to get to the actual downloaded transactions. And here we are. And so as you can see, that process of connecting the bank account to QuickBooks, that just took a few minutes, all right? And it brought in all of these transactions. So like, I don't know, I like to work smarter, not harder. So I don't know about you guys, but like, you know, entering these transactions manually one by one is really not appealing to me. Okay, so once the account has been connected, it's going to take us back to this banking tab so we can start reviewing the transactions. So before we do though, there's a couple of things that we wanted to point out. So for QuickBooks Online, most banks will their transactions will automatically download every night around 10 p.m. Pacific time, give or take. Okay, and you can also, if you need some information immediately, you can also click on this update button right here, and it'll go ahead and manually update it. Okay. Just to the left of that, you'll see the link account button. That's going to allow you to connect additional bank or credit card accounts. Okay. And with QuickBooks Online, there is no limit on how many accounts you can connect. If you have 10 accounts, you can certainly connect all 10. Okay. If you do have multiple accounts connected, you'll be you can select the tiles for the account that you want to review right here, where Maria's doing the circle. Okay. For us, we just have the one account for the USAA. Okay. So once the account's connected, QuickBooks is going to send all the downloaded information, the transactions, to this for review tab. Okay. And this is where you'll want to make sure that you review these transactions one by one. Okay. And once you've categorized the transactions, then it's going to land you on either the categorized or the excluded tabs. Okay. Categorized just means that the transaction had been added to your books. And exclude, an example of a excluded could be if the downloaded transaction, maybe it's a duplicate, right? And if you know that, then you can just exclude it. All right, so we're going to navigate back to the For Review tab. And so here, what we're going to do is we're going to review and categorize our transactions. So for our demo, just to make this we're going to do it more of a bite-sized chunk, so it's more easily readable. So we're going to filter the report to just January 2021 transactions. So I'm going to change my from date to 1/1/21, and I'm going to change my to date to 1/31/21. And then we're going to apply that. All right, so all we did was we just filtered the downloaded transactions just to view the January transactions from 2021. Okay, so if you notice on the right-hand side, there's a couple of buttons, right? We got confirm, review, and typically there's another button called match. And so confirm is just telling us that QuickBooks has a potential category of recommendation for you. You'll notice that like fries food here, it has meals. Review just means that it doesn't know what to do with it. So it's wanting you to look at it and make a category selection. And then match, which we're not showing here, just means that QuickBooks found a transaction in QuickBooks that can match up with your downloaded transaction so that it doesn't duplicate it. Okay. So for us, we don't have any matches. So it's wanting us to start a brand new transaction for us on these, either by clicking confirm on these two, review and the confirm options. Sorry, I kind of stumbled my way through that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on one of these transactions so to make sure that it's the right category. Okay, so it looks like Maria clicked on fries food. And on this one, it's recommending meals. And actually, believe it or not, this is the right recommendation. But for our demo, we're going to switch it up. We're going to change it. We're going to change it to supplies and materials. There we go. And here you can also like update like the vendor information or the customer information and on any of these fields. But we're going to leave those as is, and we're just going to click on confirm. All right, so now that we've done that, QuickBooks is going to take the use the information that I just entered to create and add a new transaction to my account. So if we go over to the Categorize tab, there you go. There's that transaction that we just confirmed, right? Now, had she clicked on excluded, it would have just gone over to the excluded tab. So we just walked through connecting our bank account to QuickBooks. We've reviewed at least one of our downloaded bank transactions. We categorized it to the desired chart of account, and then we confirmed and added that transaction to our books. Okay. Now this process is going to get easier and faster over time because online banking has AI capability, meaning that it's going to remember how to categorize these transactions based on your prior transaction. So let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, so if we navigate back to the For Review tab, look here on the Assign To for fries food. Notice that previously it was categorized as meals, I believe. Now look, it's all switched over to supplies and materials based on our last transaction. Okay, and so all we would have to do here now is just click confirm and it'll move it over to our Categorize tab. So you just witnessed that we brought in 14 months of data into QuickBooks, literally within minutes. What do you guys think? You know, do you think that this is going to be helpful? Do you think that this is going to save you time? Can you let us know? Post it in the Q&A, please.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. Yeah.
We agree. I think, yeah, this has to be by far my favorite feature in the program.
Yeah, I would agree with you. In all the years of working with QuickBooks Online, one thing I think that online did really well is this feature. It's like it's so smooth. I can't say enough good things about it. All right, fantastic.
Right, I agree. So we do have people saying very helpful. I think so, but I need additional help.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and we can definitely help with that. So reach out to us.
Well, so as great as what you just saw, you know, it sounds like everyone's loving it.
Yeah.
There's additional ways to speed up the review process. So I'm hoping that, you know, you guys are wanting to see that. I'm hoping you're shaking yes. Yeah. Okay. So so yeah, let's just do it. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna create a rule. Okay, it's a bank rule, and that's gonna make this process even faster. Okay, so this bank rule is gonna contain very specific conditions, right, for the downloaded bank transactions. So when the conditions are met, QuickBooks is going to automatically categorize those transactions for you based on the met conditions. Okay. Now, I am going to caution you guys, try and follow along as best you can as we create this rule, because it may or may not make sense to you, especially if you've never used QuickBooks, but you're going to see it in action once we're done. Okay, so just bear with us. All right, so we're going to go ahead and create a bank rule for our office expenses. And so we're going to go back to bookkeeping and to rules under manage. And here we're going to go ahead and click on new rule. And we're going to name this rule office expenses. All right. In the next field, we're going to tell it whether this is a money in or a money out type of transaction. So this is an expense. So this is going to be money out. Okay. Next, we're going to select the bank or credit card accounts that we want to apply this rule to. So for us, we just have the one. So we're just going to leave it as is. We'll just select all bank accounts. Now we need to set the rule conditions. Oh, sorry, I skipped this point. Maria always keeps me honest here. Yeah, so here we're going to set the condition, set the rule for the condition. So we're going to decide whether or not this transaction is going to meet all or any of the conditions. We're going to select any. Okay, and then here, a quick tip, you don't have to create multiple rules. You can create just the one rule and then use this add a condition with which is basically like an or condition, okay? And you can add up to 5 conditions. So for us, we're only gonna use 3 today. All right, so in the conditions field, you're gonna have to specify whether this rule applies to a description, a bank text, or a dollar amount. We're going to select description. Next, I need to tell it, you know, whether how to apply the rule by selecting contains, doesn't contain, or is exactly. We're going to select contains. And then finally, we're going to type in the text for the condition. So for us, we're going to use Amazon, Walmart, and Fry's Food. These are our payees. All right, so now we're going to move on to the assign. So we're going to select whether to assign or exclude. We are going to use assign. And then under the transaction type, you have the option for expense, transfer, check, or credit card payment. We're going to choose expense. Next is we have to select the category. So this is the account in your chart of accounts to track these transactions. So I'm going to pause here for a moment. So to explain what I mean by categories or chart of accounts. So chart of accounts is basically the index, okay, in your QuickBooks of all the financial accounts of the company. So you it's basically the categories that you use on your transactions, from everything from your sales forms to your reports to your tax forms. Okay, so here we're going to choose a category called office expenses account, and that's the one that we're going to use to track the money going out of the business. Okay. And for payees, we're going to leave that blank because we already have several payees up there in the conditions. We have Amazon, Walmart, and Fry's Food. And then there's some additional options down here. As you can see, we're going to leave those blank for our demo. And then last thing here is you can also turn on or off this AutoConfirm to accept your transactions into your books from the banking page. We're going to turn it off for right now, and we're going to show you later what would happen to those downloaded transactions had we turned it on. Okay, so we're going to leave it off and we're going to click save. All right, I hope everybody's still with me. I know we just did a lot of things there, and yeah, it was clear as mud, right? So I'm going to recap for you what we just did. Okay, so we created a rule and we named it office expenses here. Okay, that's telling QuickBooks that anytime transactions come in from all of our bank accounts with a description field that contains text for Amazon, Walmart, and Fry's Food, that we wanted to create an expense transaction and we wanted to actually categorize it under our office expenses account. Okay, and also notice here on the auto add, it's not turned on because we do not want QuickBooks to automatically accept those transactions into our books. Okay, so now we've done that. We're going to go back to our transactions tab under bookkeeping, and we're going to see what this looks like. So here in the for review tab, look at the, oh, there you go. Look at the descriptions for Fry's Food, Amazon, and Walmart. Okay, and look at the corresponding assigned to for each of those descriptions. As you can see, they're all assigned to the rule that we just created for office expenses. Okay, and in addition, notice that on the far right, there's like these little icons next to it. And if you hover over it, it tells you that there was a rule applied to that transaction. All right. And so they were all auto-categorized by the rule that we just created, which is going to save us time in reviewing those bank transactions. And all you have to do now is just click confirm. Okay. And as we do that, and if we go to the Categorize tab, there's that transaction that we just confirmed. Okay. And look at under the rule field, yep, to the office expenses, and it's got that rule label indicating that, you know, this transaction was accepted via a rule that was created. Okay. Now, when we created that rule just a moment ago, we had the auto confirm turned off. So let's go ahead and turn it on and let's see what it does to those transactions. Okay. So we're going to go back to rules, and then we're going to go ahead and edit that rule. And then on the bottom, we're going to go ahead and turn on auto confirm and save. And it's doing this little spinny things. It's basically turning on, applying this rule, the changes to the rule to all those downloaded transactions. And there you go. And so here, notice under auto add now, it shows that we are, the auto add is actually turned on. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to the transactions tab. And look at that, those Amazon, Walmart, and Fry's Food is no longer sitting here in our for review tab. It's now all been moved over to the Categorize tab, right? Which means that, you know, they were automatically categorized and added to our QuickBooks account. And again, on the right here, it shows the AutoConfirm and the rule labels, okay? So you can see that all these transaction, what is it, 122 items were automatically added into your QuickBooks without us having to review or confirm those transactions. It's a huge, huge time saver. You guys
Marsha,
agree?
yeah,
Huh?
Marsha likes the auto on.
Yeah, once you figure it out, and then you
Yeah.
just like, like it's baby steps. Like I wasn't sure, like the first time we used it for our business, we did one portion and we're like, oh, okay, we like that. And we did it for a few days to make sure it was tracking it properly. And then we're like, okay, it's doing its thing. So then we turned it on and now we're good to go.
Absolutely. We have another question. How often should I plan to do this? Weekly? Monthly?
So so online banking, it actually pulls in the transactions daily. And so like I can tell you that like my memory as I'm getting older isn't always the best. So I would recommend at least weekly, because sometimes I don't know what I did. Like today's what, Thursday? Sometimes I don't know what I did on Monday. So but it's really up to you. For me, I would do it at minimum weekly. How
And
about you,
then,
Maria?
so being vulnerable here, I have a harder time doing this on a weekly basis. However, like I at least do it monthly. And since typically people will get like their monthly statements for their bank. So I just make sure I have that handy, and obviously the QuickBooks does a lot of the work for me. But I mean, I would love to do it weekly, but yeah, at the most, like at least do it monthly once you get those statements, so that way you have like real-time data in front of you.
Yeah, because sometimes it's really hard to remember, like jog your memory on like what was that for? So I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
reason why I do it weekly,
Yeah, that's probably better, but I'll try harder.
All right, thank you for that. So now we categorize all those transactions, and let's look at how QuickBooks uses this information to create those reports for us. Okay, now this is a company that we set up earlier today, so we don't have a whole lot of data on this company file. So we're going to actually switch to a sample company that Intuit has got much more data, and we're going to look for a report once it loads here that's going to show us like how much money we made. Okay, so this is Craig's design and landscaping service. So it's a sample file that shoot, as long as I've been at Intuit, I think this file's been here. But what we're going to do is navigate to the reports menu on the left, and here we're going to go ahead and select the profit and loss report. And if we scroll up, so you can utilize a lot of these drop downs on this report to filter your report. Okay. In addition, there's also this customize button off to the right that also allows for some additional customization of your report. Okay. For us, we're just going to keep it nice and simple. We're just going to change the report period to all dates, and then we're going to run the report. So this is the P&L report, profit and loss report, profitability report. They have a bunch of different names for it, but this report is going to be divided into two sections. Okay, so the top section usually is the income section. Okay, here you're going to see all the money that comes into the business, and it's going to be grouped into the categories, which are, the part of that chart of accounts, like the office expenses that we were talking about earlier. And all the items are going to be grouped together and added together, actually, to give you a total income dollar amount. So here we're looking at $10,200 and some change, okay, for the year. Now, the second section is going to be all about the expenses. Okay, this is where for all the money going out of the business. And this also is grouped together by the categories. And here we can see that Craig's Landscaping had a total of, what is it? Okay, $52,37.31. Okay, in total expenses, and it looks like there was some additional expenses, $29.16. Okay, in other expenses, and lastly, the net income is going to be reflected here, and that's basically the sum of all the income minus the expenses, right? So Craig's landscaping had total of 1642.46 for as net income for the year. Oh, okay. We're almost there. All right. So these are the type of so sorry, I saw that little pop-up and threw me off. So let me ask you guys, like, if given this insight into the business, what do you think that Craig should do with the information next? You know, and what would you do if these were your numbers? Just something to think about, right? Because I can tell you that if these were my numbers, I definitely want to take a closer look at the other miscellaneous expenses, because I don't know what that is. And you can actually drill into those numbers just by clicking on it. And it shows some transactions associated to that category. And so for us, maybe we should have passed on some of these costs to customers' jobs and projects. I don't know, maybe, maybe not, right? So if we go back to the report summary and looking at the net income of 1642 and change, I mean, looking at this, I don't know, I'd be really worried if this was my business, because like, is that going to be enough to sustain the business? And am I going to be able to, like, you know, pay myself? All right. So these are the type of insights that you're going to get out of using a software like QuickBooks Online. You know, not only does it allow you to stay organized and be ready for year end, but it's going to also help you make real-time decisions that can make have a huge impact on your business. All right, and saying all that, well, look at that. We're to the end of our demo, and so and closing thoughts, guys, you know, we hope that you found this webinar to be helpful and useful. We hope that you're thinking about what you may start doing or continue to do or even stop doing, okay? For most of us, we do not look forward to tracking our books or prepare for year-end taxes, but you can minimize a lot of the undue stress just simply by putting systems in place so that you're better prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I know we answered some questions throughout, but before we close for the day, do we have any other questions?
Let me check the Q&A. Doesn't look like we do. But earlier, someone asked about a list of banks that might work with QuickBooks Online. So I did find a link while we were doing the webinar that might be helpful. So I just posted that in chat so that everyone could see it.
Super. Fantastic. So guys, like, if you guys really enjoyed our webinar and would like to learn more about how to track your business bookkeeping, be sure to check out our website. We do offer, we are a QuickBooks solution provider, and so and we have preferred vendor status. So let us know how we can be of assistance. You can set up like 30-minute consultations. It's free. There's no obligation or anything. If you want to have a little conversation around, like, you know, what version of QuickBooks is going to be the right fit for my business, because there's a lot of different flavors. And so what we don't want you to do is get something that's not going to meet your needs, or get something that's where, you know, you're getting more than what you need, right? So you're overpaying for software. So let us know, and we can definitely work, you know, help with that decision making.
For sure. And someone thanked us for the link. You're welcome. And Marsha also said, very much so, QuickBooks has been around for long enough to really provide a bookkeeping tool that's very user friendly. She said, thank you. You're very welcome.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you for that. So again, everyone, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us today. We hope that what we covered helps you to be more organized with your books and be prepared for your year-end taxes.
And also, if you're planning to do things differently this year, we do hope that you walked away with some good ideas of how to do that. And maybe even through QuickBooks Online, now that you saw how easy it can be to use. So again, thank you again for joining us. We definitely look forward to seeing you again soon.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for presenting. They are Making Accounting Easy, LLC. Their business directory listing is here in the chat, along with the hyperlink here as well. We'll keep that tagged here for any of you that need information. And just if any of you are looking for more events like this, you can go to localfirstaz.com/events. we'd love to see you in a webinar. And hey, if you're also a member, we may want to see you present at the future event. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and have a wonderful day.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.